Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, the suspended Seadrift police chief was fired, accused of sexual harassment. And former President Donald Trump raises $2 million following his historical indictment. Plus, Governor Abbott signs a new bill aimed at targeting fentanyl in Texas.
Well, hope for any changes is pretty limited, folks. We're looking at temperatures hovering at or around 100 degrees for the next 7-10 days, maybe 2-3 months. We'll be talking more about that coming up in a moment.
And big news for Texas Longhorn and Texas A&M Aggie fans. We have the latest in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Garcia. Don Brubaker has the day off. Suspended Seadrift Police Chief Leonard Bermia was recently fired by the Seadrift City Council. Now, the Port Lavaca Wave reports a law firm conducted an independent investigation into allegations of sexual harassment of a subordinate employee. In a 7-page summary, it was concluded he violated all 7 types of misconduct in Seadrift's harassment policy. It was also determined he sexually harassed one subordinate employee by sending flowers and inappropriate text message and images. The city's policy prohibits making obscene comments, jokes, or gestures that would humiliate or offend someone. On Monday, Victoria police officers arrested 21-year-old Brandon Garcia of Rosenberg. Police were in the 600 block of King Arthur Street around 6:45 p.m. for a report regarding a stolen vehicle. Authorities found the car and the suspect about 15 minutes later on the Houston highway. Police say Garcia tried to run, but they caught up with him and he now faces multiple charges. This afternoon around 2 o'clock, authorities were busy with a semi-truck fire. It happened in the 1900 block of US 59 North. Authorities say someone driving the truck alerted the driver to the fire. The driver was able to pull over and get out safely. A possible tornado Wednesday afternoon has left a 2-story building in shreds and cars damaged on US Highway 59 near Queen City, Texas. The suspected tornado was in a small cluster of storms that started circulating as it passed through that area. The National Weather Service issued a tornado warning just before 1 p.m. Video shows a 2-story building in shreds, its roof and most of the walls are missing, leaving the iron metal frame exposed. And no tornadoes here, but we do have that brutal sun here. And let's go to Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis with more.
You bet. The brutal sun is definitely what we've got. These are the forecast highs for tomorrow. You can see we're still hovering at or near 100 degrees. All of that stormy weather was in North Texas and has now moved into Georgia, where they're getting the big stuff tonight. And we'll be talking more about that and taking a look at the tropics coming up in a moment. Stay tuned.
Mac, thank you. After yesterday's unprecedented arraignment and not guilty plea to more than 36 federal criminal charges in Miami, former President Donald Trump went right back into campaigning. Prosecutors argue he allegedly mishandled national defense documents and conspired to conceal them from the FBI and his own lawyers.
They will fail and we will win bigger and better than ever before.
Twice impeached and now twice indicted, Donald Trump was upbeat and defiant after pleading not guilty to 37 federal charges. The former president rallying supporters at his Bedminster, New Jersey golf club, once again declaring his innocence and threatening to prosecute President Biden if he is elected.
I will never be moving.
Hours earlier, Trump was arrested and fingerprinted before his court appearance. The former president never spoke in court, seeming to understand the gravity of the charges he's facing. Prosecutors allege Trump illegally kept classified documents, including some of the nation's most sensitive nuclear weapons and national defense secrets, at his Mar-a-Lago club. They also say Trump didn't fully comply with a subpoena, then repeatedly tried to obstruct the FBI's efforts to retrieve the documents, even allegedly suggesting that his attorney hide or destroy documents. Attorney General Merrick Garland speaking about the indictment for the first time.
My role is completely consistent with the regulations that set forth the responsibilities of the Attorney General under the special counsel regulations.
Most of Trump's opponents for the Republican nomination initially defended him and blasted the DOJ, despite not having read the indictment. Now that they have, their statements are more critical.
If this indictment is true, if what it says is actually the case, President Trump was incredibly reckless with our national security.
The handling of classified materials is a very serious matter, and this indictment contains serious charges, and I cannot defend what is alleged. At the end of the day, though, I can't believe that politics didn't play some role here.
A Reuters Ipsos poll shows more than 2 in 5 Republicans still support Trump for the nomination, and 3/4 say the criminal charges will have no impact or make it even more likely they'll support him. Lindsay Watts, ABC News, Washington.
Governor Greg Abbott signed several bills related to the fentanyl crisis at the Texas state capitol today. One of the new laws allows fentanyl deaths to be prosecuted as murder. The governor was joined by fentanyl advocates and families who have lost loved ones to fentanyl. In a tweet, Governor Abbott said, quote, "Texas will ensure victims of fentanyl poisoning and their families get the justice they deserve," unquote.
4 laws that will forever change Texas. They include laws that will educate young Texans on the dangers of fentanyl, provide more Narcan to our colleges and universities, prosecute fentanyl deaths for what they are. That is murders. It now will be a murder in Texas. And ensure that death certificates reflect when people are poisoned by this terrible drug.
The bill was passed by state lawmakers in March. The Texas Tribune reports House Speaker Dade Phelan announced a new proposal supported by both the House and Governor Abbott that would send $12.3 billion to school districts so they can lower their tax rates. And so this leads us to your viewer poll. The question is, do you want lawmakers to send $12.3 billion to school districts to lower these tax rates? Yes or no? We take a look at these results and 78% stand at yes, 22% stand at no. Remember, come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we will have an update on 25 News Now at 10. KHOU reports one person died and 3 others were hurt Tuesday when a roof collapsed at Friendswood High School. The incident happened as crews were working on building a new gym at the school. A statement from Friendswood ISD says they are sending prayers to the workers and their families. Video of a cement tanker engulfed in flames near US 77 in Richardson, just north of Dallas, shows this vehicle explode. The cement hit a power line, which caused it to catch fire. The Richardson Fire Department says the downed power lines caused outages in that area. Approximately 1,200 customers were affected, and as of right now, no injuries have been reported. The City of Fort Worth Council honored 2 police officers for rescuing a baby taken during a car theft. It happened back in May. Sergeant Ronnie Chow and Officer Stephen Smith responded to the call about an abandoned 6-month-old baby. Investigators believe the suspect dumped the child, who was in the mother's stolen vehicle at the time.
Incredible feeling. I've been a police officer for 22 years, and this is probably the proudest day of my career.
It was a group effort, and all we were worried about was the baby, and at the end of the day, that's what we're worried about.
The child was not hurt, and police charged Elliot Reyes with abandoning and endangering a child and auto theft. Now here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record this week. Cuero Floats place a win at the Yoakum Tom Tom Festival, and Cuero Future Farmers of America showcase their projects across the Texas state. Plus, the Cuero High School class of 1973 is set to celebrate their 50th reunion this Saturday, July 15th at the Cuero Country Club. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. As for now, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, Chicago continues to make room for more incoming migrants. Also ahead in world news, a boat carrying migrants leaves 79 people dead off the coast of Greece. A fishing boat carrying migrants capsized and sank off the coast of Greece, leaving at least 79 people dead and many more missing. Coast Guard, Navy, and merchant vessels searched Wednesday in a vast search and rescue operation. Authorities said 104 people were rescued so far after the boat sank overnight in international waters in an area close to one of the deepest parts of the Mediterranean Sea. Now, while it's unclear how many passengers remain in the water or trapped, initial reports suggest hundreds of people were on board. A group of migrant families in Chicago has moved to a local college. They had been staying at a closed-down YMCA and made a life for themselves there. But now the city wants to use that space to shelter single men who have been sleeping on police station floors.
It was just after 5 o'clock this afternoon when 3 CTA buses loaded with some 40 migrant families arrived at Daly College after their more than 2-hour journey south from Westridge, leaving behind a neighborhood that in their short time there became home. We were hoping to stay here until our legal processes were complete. Unfortunately, there was nothing left for us to do, said Organis Camacho of herself, her husband, and their 2-year-old daughter. It was just last week when the mayor's office announced that the migrant families living at this shuttered YMCA in Westridge would be moved to Daly College to make room for some 400 single men still living on police station floors across Chicago. The move was delayed twice when both the families and many in the surrounding community spoke up in opposition.
We're friends with them. You think about all the activities of the last month of school. Field trips, field days, picnics, graduations. They've all been a part of it.
Hoping to continue to support the migrant children who will now have to get used to new surroundings, many of their teachers and others showed up to deliver suitcases this morning, assuring them and their children that at least some of their teachers will remain with them during the summer months. I'm grateful for everyone here in Chicago, says Edgar Roa. We need to make room for the newer arrivals. They need a place to stay, just like we do.
Now it's unclear how long the migrant families will stay at the college before they have to move again. The city says it could be used as a shelter until August 1st. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave this week. Law enforcement made 19 weekly arrests in the month of June, and the Calhoun County Commissioner's Court awarded a bid for a new dispatch facility. Plus, Ruth Plum, a Port Lavaca resident, celebrated 100 years on June 10th. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com.
Well, coming up, we'll be talking about the temperatures that you're going to really dread. Temperatures hovering at or near 100 degrees next couple of days. And we'll be taking a look at the tropics and at where all the big stormy rain is occurring right about now. All that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Mic check 1 2 1 2 check 1 2.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. 91 degrees right now, but it feels like 104. Yes, you can see how the difference between the temperature and the humidity combined gives you the heat index, and that's the way your body is affected by those two things. We've got, of course, 7-mile visibility. It's been rather hazy. If people asking me, what is that fire, is that smoke? And I'm going, no, generally, when we have an unstable atmosphere, and there's no cap, everything flows upstream and you get really big white clouds and nice, beautiful blue skies. But when we're under a stable atmosphere like this, where basically everything's sinking down, well, that's all the pollution we put out, all the water vapor, basically everything, and you get these hazy skies. Our high temperature today got up to 94 after a 78 morning low. Can you imagine? That was as cool as it got. You know, and that's the problem when the air conditioner goes on all day and then all night is kind of a depressor there. 92 is our average high. We expect to get that high temperature a little bit higher for the next couple of days. And, you know, our record for today is 106, but we'll be hovering in the 100-degree mark. You can see right about now we've got 86 down in Port O'Connor, 91 for us here, but still in the mid-90s, 95 out in Karnes City. Areas out toward Laredo, we've been in the 105 category, so it's just hot and brutal. I'm just wondering, what are we going to do for the next 3 months? Is it going to be like this every day? Well, we are looking at where all the activity is occurring. Big thunderstorms rolling through Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia. This is a pretty huge deal because they're happy. Yeah, it's been a drought over there. And so all of a sudden they're getting some rain, but they're also getting some big spots of hail out there. So they are having some damage problems. These are just tips, ideas on how to survive through this excessive heat. Find air conditioning. And it's possible that somebody you know doesn't have air conditioning, and that is when it's a real problem. You know, we can deal with the high temperatures in the daytime, but when it doesn't cool off at night and you never really cool down, well, it's something that we've a big problem. Avoid strenuous activities during the middle part of the days. Yes, you can walk across the parking lot, but just consider working on a jackhammer or something. That's going to be a strenuous activity. Wear light clothing. Check on family members outside of, maybe away from the area, out on the ranch. Drink plenty of water. Watch for heat cramps, and never leave anybody, two-legged or four-legged, in the back seat of a car, because it can really warm up fast. 94 for us, and we're looking at around temperatures around the state. 103 is the high temperature in Laredo, 102 Del Rio, 102 in San Angelo. So these are the forecast highs for tomorrow. They actually go up about a degree or two. So we're looking for 97 for us, 99 Austin, 102 San Antonio, and 110 out in Laredo, you know. Anyway, the heat advisory effect will continue for the next few months, as a matter of fact, while we are, of course, dealing with just the brutal heat and high pressure that's sinking on top of us. To the north of us, that's where all the stormy weather is occurring, in this slot over there. So let's take a look at your forecast for those of you in Port Lavaca, starting at 82, ending up at 93 tomorrow. And at Cuero, we're starting at 80 in the morning, getting up to 98. Everybody will be complaining about the weather. We've got an alert day for tomorrow and probably for the next few weeks as we continue with temperatures hovering at or near 100 degrees. That's your 7-day forecast. I want to remind everybody, we do have this QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Mac. And now let's go to Sports Director Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. The Bloomington Bobcats are getting a new look ahead of the 2023 football season. See what I mean after the break. Howdy Crossroads. This howdy means a little more today because the Texas A&M Aggies and Texas Longhorns rivalry will be back next year. The last time these two historic rivals met was in Aggieland College Station for the 118th time back in 2011. The game came down to the wire and ended off a 40-yard Justin Tucker field goal, who was straight and true to win 27-25. The Longhorns said goodbye to A&M and sent them to the SEC. Texas leads Texas A&M in the all-time series with a record of 76-37 and 5 ties. It is still not a lock that the Longhorns and Aggies will play each other for the future. The schedules are going to be one of 2 formats. The first proposed format is each team will have 8 conference games with 1 permanent rival and 7 rotating opponents each year. Oklahoma would be the permanent rival for the Longhorns. The second format is the 9 conference games with 3 permanent rivals and 6 rotating opponents each year. If the second format is selected, then Texas could have permanent rivals with both Oklahoma and Texas A&M, along with another school, likely Arkansas. The Longhorns representatives are in favor of the second format, but they do not get a vote on the matter. The Bloomington Bobcats are going to be showing off a new look next season on the gridiron. According to the Bloomington Bobcats head football coach, Brandon Krause, he spoke to the athletes about the potential change and they loved it. He said he wanted to stay true to the roots of the logo, but wanted a green color to mix with it. And the change was brought to the school board and they unanimously approved it. The team is also working to get black jerseys and pants to potentially have a blackout night. The Bobcats finished the season with a 3-7 record under first-year head coach Krause. The Bloom will open its season against the Woodsboro Eagles and hope to go 1-0 like they did last year. The Victoria Generals win 2 in a row and are looking to make it 3 to cap off its 4-game road trip against the Seguin River Monsters. The game started out slow again as the Rougarou took a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the second, but the Generals answered right back right when the Generals hit 2 triples in the top of the third to take the lead, scoring 3, then again in the fourth. But in the fifth, the Rougarou battled back and scored a few more to come within 1. The game would go silent after that, and the Generals would hold 6-5 to beat the Rougarou. The game against the River Monsters starts at 7 in Seguin. Big news for the Houston Astros, and it's not the good kind. Today it was announced by Astros general manager Dana Brown that outfielder and designated hitter Yordan Alvarez will miss at least 4 weeks. The news gets worse for Astros fans because it was announced today that pitcher Lance McCullers will miss the remainder of the season due to having a right forearm surgery. Alvarez is hitting .272 with 17 home runs, 55 RBIs, and 57 games played this season. McCullers has not pitched a game this season. Well, that's your sports. Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. We're back in a moment where we head to the White House where the party continues for Juneteenth celebrations. The White House hosted its first Juneteenth celebration concert Tuesday. The event, held on the White House South Lawn, showcased performances by musicians from historically black universities. And Oscar-winning singer Jennifer Hudson was also there. President Biden declared Juneteenth a federal holiday back in 2021. It commemorates the day 2 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, when a Union general arrived in Texas to inform a group of enslaved African Americans of their freedom. Alrighty. Well, we do have Juneteenth celebrations here as well.
We sure do. Big one down in Port Lavaca, all over the area.
Yeah, Cuero has a historical Black Cowboy Museum. So
a lot of things happening, and all I'm saying is go, but wear a big hat and drink plenty of fluids and just take it easy.
Brutal out there.
Say hello to all your friends and all that good stuff. And in Cuero, a lot of families are coming back. It's kind of a reunion to visit. So we want them to go on. It's just you're going to be dealing with the heat. That's all we have to do.
So tell us about the heat.
Well, it's going to be with us for a while. Take a look at your 7-day forecast. There's not a lot of changes. We'll hover at or near 100. And if this is like any indication that the rest of the summer is going to be, and I think it is, it's going to be 90 days of heat and humidity.
I'm all for it. I need a tan.
But 114, did you see that feeling? No, thank you.
Well, see, he doesn't have to worry about hair.
You don't have to worry about hair, makeup, or none of that jazz.
I need to get a haircut, actually. So.
See, it doesn't get all curly on him. So a lot of people are dealing with this humidity badly.
Alrighty, well, thank you, Mac, and thank you for joining us. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.